It's over. It's over. Discrimination on the color of your skin in regards to college is over. Here we go. Let's break into the news here. This is breaking news. It just happened minutes ago. Supreme Court outlaws race as a factor in college admissions in major affirmative action ruling. Justices vote 6-3 to rule Harvard and University of North Carolina programs unconstitutional. No kidding. No kidding, it's unconstitutional. How this has been going on is beside me. How we have come so far, sometimes I think, how far we've come as a country, and then I think of how little we've come. That we're still basing admissions into schools on the color of your skin, not on the content of your character and the work ethic and your grades, is beyond me. It's beyond me. I'll never understand how this was that's like, let me say this. If you were going to have a heart surgery, would you want the best possible doctor, whether he's Indian, Asian, white, black, Spanish, just the best guy who got the best grades and who was the best doctor and who's done the most surgeries? Or do you want somebody who was hired because of his race and there needed a quota or whatever the case may be? That's why he was hired, or she. No, I'd want the best doctor. I could care less what their race is, right? That's what, same thing. Would you want the pilot of your plane to be the best pilot, knows how to glide planes, he or she has been, has thousands of hours of flying experience and is the best person to be flying your plane? Or do you want somebody who was hired because of the color of their skin? We're in the 2020s. That's done. The content of your character, your work ethic, your record, that's what should get you a job. That's what should get you into positions. That's what should get you into school. Period. All right, let's read this. There should be no race discrimination in either direction. The justices on Thursday decided 6-3 opinion that Harvard University and North Carolina's race-based affirmative action admissions are unconstitutional, against the Constitution. Affirmative action was designed to boost student numbers from minority groups. And, I get it to a degree, I do. But when it comes to getting into the best schools, you got to have the best grades, period. You have to have not just the best grades. You also have to have, the most, extracurricular activities, et cetera, right? There's a lot of things that factor into that, right? So the fact that we're just choosing people based on the color of their skin that's ancient. We've come so far past that. How could we be doing this? I never understood it. The Supreme Court has banned colleges from using race as a factor. Of course. How was this happening? When admitting students in a landmark ruling on affirmative action Thursday, the justices on Thursday decided 6-3 opinion that Harvard and North Carolina race-based affirmative action admissions policies are unconstitutional. Both programs lack sufficiently focused and measurable objectives warranting the use of race, unavoidably employ race in a negative manner, involve racial stereotyping, and lack of meaningful endpoints. This states the majority opinion, written by Chief Justice Roberts, who in my opinion is not a conservative. He may be, but he really goes left on so many issues. So the fact that he said that is interesting. I look at him as a fake conservative. As an independent, I like to, judge who's conservative, who's liberal, and, really get an idea, look at their record, and from how Roberts usually votes, I guess you could say maybe he's middle of the road. I look at him as he calls himself a conservative. I don't think he is, but whatever. I digress. Roberts added that for too long, colleges within the United States have concluded, wrongly he adds, that the touchstone of an individual's identity is not challenges bested, skills built, or lessons learned. No, it's not like how good you are, but it's the color of their skin. Like, I never understood. I can't believe this was a thing. Our constitutional history does not tolerate that choice. And he's right. We fought wars. Literally, brother fought brother to stop this stuff. Martin Luther King changed the world to end that very thing. He marched peacefully and changed the world to say it's not based on the color of their skin, but the content of your character. It's how good you are. It's how hard you work. It's the skills. It's your character that matters. Roberts was joined in the majority opinion by Republican appointees Amy Coney Barrett, Samuel Alito, Clarence Thomas, the man, my favorite judge, Neil Gorsuch, and Brett Kavanaugh. The court's liberal justices, Ketanji Brown Jackson, Sonia Sotomayor, and Elena Kagan, dissented. The ruling ends a decades-old policy known as affirmative action that was designed to boost the number of black and Hispanic students in colleges. The idea was to ensure minority groups are fairly represented among university bodies. Yeah, but what about Asian people? What about Indian? What about American Indian? This is why this muddies the water, and I never agreed with this. It just should be based on your work, on your grades, on your character. Nothing to do with your skin color. Lawyers brought 2 cases in the name of nonprofit Students for Fair Admissions, who argued that they were disadvantaged by affirmative action. They sued the University of North Carolina and Harvard, alleging that race-based admissions are illegal. Of course they are! We've come so far past doing that. The case, Students for Fair Admissions, Inc. versus President and Fellows of Harvard College, was argued before the justices last year. The universities were sued by Students for Fair Admissions, a nonprofit activist group, over their race-based admission policies in 2014. The cases made their way through lower courts, which ruled on the side of Harvard, it's amazing, right? And UNC, before finally reaching the Supreme Court. Specifically, Harvard was accused of violating Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. I mean, the Civil Rights Act is so important to us today. How they could be violating that, it's mind-boggling, and I'm so glad this is happening now. So Harvard was accused of violating Title VI of the Civil Rights Act, a landmark piece of legislation first proposed by John F. Kennedy that sought to, and I love Kennedy, that sought to outlaw racial discrimination. Of course. Title VI prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, or national origin in any program or activity that receives federal funds or other federal assistance. The case argued that Asian American students specifically have been illegally disadvantaged by affirmative action policies because despite achieving high grades, they score lower on Harvard's vague personal rating scale, particularly on likability ratings and, quote, positive personality compared to other applicants. The UNC case also looked at what universities could factor into admission practices without the use of race and how it would impact diversity on campus. Both Harvard and UNC have maintained that their use of race in admissions does not discriminate against Asian Americans. How is that possible? If you're using race as a factor, you're discriminating just by the nature of doing that. How could you even have a sentence like that? How could you even say that maintain the use of race in admission doesn't discriminate? You are by using race. You're discriminating. I can't believe this has gone on this long, to be honest with you. 9 states have already made it illegal for admission professions to consider race in college applications. They are Arizona, California, Florida, Idaho, Michigan, Nebraska, New Hampshire, Oklahoma, and Washington. Now that's a mixed bag there. They're not all red. Certainly not with purple state Arizona, blue state California, red state Florida as the first 3 there. So I think people on both sides are recognizing that this is not good, right? So 9 states have made it illegal for you to consider race. Aren't we past this? I can't even believe this had to go to the Supreme Court. But this has happened. This is what happens, in my opinion, when over-compassion, when people are over-compassionate, mixed with virtue signaling and social media, goes crazy. Because everybody is so eager to show how virtuous they are, how fair they are. And what happens is you actually go the other way. You actually go too far with it. That's my personal opinion. Listen, I'm all for everybody having an equal chance. That's 100%, right? But everybody has an equal chance who did the same work, right? So if I did whatever, I'm just using stupid numbers, right? If I did 100 research papers and somebody else did 100 research papers, well, it doesn't matter what either person's color or skin is, let's have the same fair shot at getting it. But if I did 100 research papers and another person just did 10, but they're a different skin color, why should they get in when I work 10 times as hard? I'm just using arbitrary figures here. You get the point. Let's all be on equal footing. This is what was fought for by Martin Luther King. This is what it was all about. How could we have gone so far that we went past it? Let's come back to reality. Let's have some common sense here, okay? The harder you work, the better you should be rewarded. Bottom line. Doesn't matter what your race is. We're all equal, right? Especially in the eyes of God. Thank you guys for watching the video, and I will catch you in the next one.